What can I do for you?
Oh, little song, little dance, Batman's head on a lance. Tell me, what do you know about...
I don't know anything about Batman.
Really? Well, how about a little you and me?
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's Wednesday. It's time to cover the full slate of Batman comics with my good friend Josh McDonald from popbyculture.com, as well as critic for batmannews.com. Are you not going to do reviews on Batman News anymore?
I'm not. I'm stepping away from reviews. I've got, a lot on my plate, and I want to focus on my own ventures. So, I'm taking that time and that attention and going to put it into Pop By Culture. So I will be stepping away from reviews, but I will still be part of Batman News. I'll do editorial, and we have a book club that we're starting. So I'll still be doing that as well.
Like op-ed or something?
Yeah, just news pieces and stuff. And then if we have any just type of like commentary pieces, I think there's plenty of opinions on the comic industry right now. So it'll give me time to just write those.
Absolutely. Those are always fun. So this was a big week. There were 8 Batman comics. We cannot cover the whole slate of $50 worth of Batman comics, Josh.
I think it's more than that this week because the annuals. I think
it's 8 with the annuals, but it's 48 like 92.
Okay, yeah, it's way too much.
All the books. It's absolutely insane. So we are skipping Batman Annual because I didn't read the Ghostmaker backup stories to begin with, and this is just concluding that story, and I have no interest in it.
Look, you're not missing much, okay? But I will say, anyone that visits Batman News, my review for that will go up later on Wednesday, and you don't want to miss that. So I'll throw that out
Last review.
Last review.
Right. We'll see how long that one takes. There's also the Gotham Villains special. We're not going to hit that one up. I personally just don't like anthologies for the most part, and this week is so cram-packed, there's just no room for it.
Agreed. And, anthologies used to be one of my favorite things to read when they brought in top talent, and now they just kind of throw, I mean this on the nicest way possible, but minions on there to do it, and it's not as good.
D-list talent, Josh.
Absolutely.
Not even up in covers. This is like never will be's.
Yes.
And then the last one we're not going to be able to get to is the Joker Annual. Obviously, we're both still reading Joker, and we're going to continue, but that one, it doesn't have anything to do with the actual story.
No,
they're jumping into like the Batman Year One time frame to talk about Joker scaring the pants out of Gordon. Yep. We already know Gordon hates Joker. It didn't need to be reemphasized.
100%. I have other issues. I think we'll get to that a little bit later when we talk about another book. But yeah.
All right, so let's get into what we're going to talk about. The 2 books that have everything to do that are closing up Fear State. The next one is opening up Shadows of the Bat. We'll talk about the finale of Batman the Detective, as well as hit those Nightwing and Robin annuals that I think you and I are probably most looking forward to anyway.
Yep.
All right, so Batman Fear State Omega, James Tynion, Riccardo Federici handles most of the artwork on this one. Certainly looks different than most of the Batman books we've been having. If you like the art in this comic book, I will say you're going to need to go over to Action Comics. Riccardo Federici is moving over there to be the primary artist on that series. I'm not sure if it's next issue, but once he gets on there, he's going to be the man. It looks good, especially when fantastic. Batman's doing Batman stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a problem I'm having with a lot of books, specifically like last week. I liked DC versus Vampires. Like, I think it's cool. I think the execution's pretty good. Why is Batman talking so much?
I have no idea. It's too much of the writers doing their own thing rather than just, trying to convey the character. But he's talking.
Batman's a broody character that does not speak a lot. And when he speaks, his words are important. Yep. He's just narrating this entire thing. Oh, and a little back and forth with him and Crane dressed up as Hannibal Lecter as he takes him to the Arkham Towers.
Yeah, look, I'm not surprised to see monologuing or tons of exposition under Tynion's pen. That's kind of what he's known for. But man, yeah, Batman talks way too much. And even how they set this up, I just kind of rolled my eyes because there's a point where Scarecrow's like, oh, I feel naked because he's got the Hannibal Lecter mask on instead of his Scarecrow mask. And then Batman gives him his Scarecrow mask. I'm like, Batman wouldn't do that. He'd be like, suck it up and deal with it, chump.
In fact, in past iterations of Batman, he's taken glee and I wouldn't say like torturing, but tormenting his adversaries. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because for Scarecrow in particular, having his mask in a way, it gives him power. It makes him feel like he's empowered. So Batman wouldn't just like, oh yeah, here, let's put it on and we'll go for a car ride. It make no sense. They wanted it just for the look of it, but That's it.
So this is a lot of talking. They're certainly introducing some things that are coming up. This is almost like a preview of Batman in 2022 is kind of the way I took it.
Yeah.
They set up a few things in here. I guess one of the big ones is that Clown Hunter is now the apprentice or sidekick to Ghostmaker.
Yes. So I think it's a combo of, I lovingly referred to this issue as James Tynion, clean up your shit. So I think it's half like get stuff off the board, and then if we want to come back to it, we can. And then like some peppered in of what could be coming. I think the Clown Hunter Ghostmaker thing is actually like a get them off the board, and we'll come back to them if we ever want to. But I don't suspect we'll see them in the near future.
And then another big reveal. We've been hearing about this character, her Meredith. I know she's from Batman Forever.
Oh, Dr. Meridian. Chase Meridian.
Yeah. Chase Meridian. There you go. I'm sorry. She is going to be essentially the head honcho at Arkham Towers, and we get to see her at the end as Crate is being admitted in there. We see her a couple of other times within this week at Batman as well. So apparently that's going to be a big figure moving forward, which is interesting because I think the character's only been in comics maybe 3 times before this.
Yeah, she hasn't had much of a comics run as far as I can remember. I do think there have been things that have popped up. Interestingly enough, we do little writing challenges where we write scripts at Batman News, and we'll draw character names. And this last one that we just pulled has to have Chase Meridian in it. So I thought it was funny that we pulled that a few months ago. And
So
then
do
this
they.
popped up here. I know. So I was like, all right, here we go. I'm fine. I think there's a lot you can do with Chase Meridian, and there's potential there. Just you have to have a good writer. And I don't have the highest hopes in the talent that they're bringing in to write this stuff, but we'll see.
I hated this issue, to be completely honest. It felt completely pointless. It felt like Batman was out of character, and it was just them talking the whole time.
It was
Ricardo
way too much
Federici
talking.
can only do so much.
Yeah, I mean, look, I praise him because all of his art in this book is just of people talking, and he made it look interesting and dynamic, and he added some weight visually, but there was really not much substance here. You already mentioned the Ghostmaker and Clown Hunter scene. I thought it was just a terrible scene. It was clunky. It wasn't even his art. And it was probably one of my least favorite scenes. The Poison Ivy wrap up was also just pointless. She pretty much kicks Gardner out and is like, don't ever come back. Which, I mean, they tried to build Gardner up as being a big character, but she was nothing more than a plot device. So, toss it to the side. They pretty much threw Miracle Molly away, which didn't make sense. So she testified in court, revealing all the details of how Simon Saint misguided the Insanity Collective to kind of like manipulate them. And then she takes the fall for the entire Insanity Collective. It was a weird situation, but it was a character that potentially had some legs to go with and got sidelined. Gosh, what else did we wrap up?
Batman being sympathetic to the Insanity Collective and being happy that they have a place. This seemed really, really strange.
It's yes, that was very much the Tynion and his outlook on life coming through, because it was odd. It made no sense. We also learned that Batman knows about Jace Fox and that he's running around the city, and he's like, yeah, I'll deal with that in time. Like, okay.
Yeah.
We know he's going to New York, so sure, whatever. Carry on.
This comic book, be completely honest, the event's already over. If they would have released last week's comic books that were tied in a week before, the thing should already be over. This was completely unnecessary. I don't recommend it. No. Don't waste your money. There are better Batman comics this week. Agreed.
There's only 2 things that I think we might see pop up aside from Chase Meridian. And, they definitely set up Peacekeeper to come back relatively soon. And then they set up that Amanda Waller is getting all of the magistrate tech. So I'm sure you'll see some of that pop over into Suicide Squad. Am I excited about either? No. But it's probably coming.
So let's go over to the other downer before we start talking about the actual good comics this week, because there are good Batman comics. Let's talk about Detective Comics Annual.
Oh, man.
Rico Tamaki with Matthew Rosenberg writing, David Lapham on art. The art in here is really bad, specifically the faces.
Dude,
are some of the worst I've seen in some time. You get a lot of flashbacks, and I don't get this idea where I'm supposed to feel bad for the inhabitants of Arkham Asylum. As far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't be there to begin with. They should be in Blackgate.
Yep.
or some type of maximum security penitentiary, so they can't keep escaping and going out and murdering people. I don't get where this point of view comes from, and I don't understand Batman, Bruce Wayne, ever agreeing with the point of view that the inhabitants of Arkham Asylum have a bad deal and they're being mistreated, especially, and I don't understand why it's coming from Dick Grayson, even though he is a very compassionate person. He knows that it's Joker in there. He knows that it's Riddler, Scarecrow, all the most dangerous people in the world are in that place, and they're essentially all they're allowed to run amok and go out there and kill people.
Yep. It's one of these fine lines where it's like it tries to create this commentary that there's a better way to rehabilitate these people that could actually help. And I don't think the intention there is meant for it to be. Well, let me rephrase that. I think the intention is there. I think my stance on, I understand where you're coming from in rehabilitating people and that it might actually work better than, some of the circumstances or situations they've been in. But the idea that you're going to take people,
yes, but this isn't Gotham.
Oh,
These
no,
are
agreed.
serial
That's what I'm
killers.
saying. When you're taking people like Joker and stuff, like, and then being like, man, we feel bad for them because they were in Arkham. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, they just slaughtered half this city. Like, throw them in there.
They're going to be worse when they get out. Is like,
dude, yeah.
To get in there, you have to be a serial killer.
Oh, wait, I mean, yeah. I think we focus on the serial killers. You have to be mentally unstable. If they pull in some lesser villains that aren't maybe as psychotic, sure, I'll run with that story. But they're not, because even if you look at the Arkham book right now, everyone they're focusing on, they're all murderers. So it's hard to feel some type of sympathy for someone who's killed multiple people. Like, yes,
that's where you're bringing in ideas and perspective about the real world and things that are happening in our lives and pushing them into this super duper dark, bleak thing that would never exist in the real world because it's so dirty.
Yeah, 100% agree. I completely agree. It's that fine line. We talk about this when we talk about Batman the Imposter. There's this fine line of leaning into realism and then going too far into being realistic. And when you go too far, it just doesn't work. Oh, no, 100% it's preaching. It's you have these people and their stance on just criminals in general. And this like idea of, well, we don't know what they've gone through. We shouldn't be so judgmental. And no, quite frankly, it's a bunch of bull crap. Like if you murder somebody, you murder somebody. And I get that there might be circumstances there, but you still murdered somebody. There's got to be consequences.
Yeah. I mean, I'm personally against the death penalty. That might surprise some people, but I'm for it in Gotham. Like, they should be murder dogs. They should be putting people out. You know what I'm saying?
And hey, look, I agree. Look, I mean, crap. I don't know what I'm doing. She's one of my favorite characters for a reason, because I kind of have that stance of, with the Joker. If this were real life and I were going against the Joker, I would be like, this dude needs to be dead. Like he's gonna break out. He's gonna kill more people. It's on your hands if you don't. Just freaking kill him. I
hate them making Nightwing look like a putz and using him as a plot device to challenge Bruce. This doesn't sound like him at all.
No, this is very much kind of in line what's going on with Batman in general right now. Like in Tynion's Batman book, everyone was challenging Bruce. Bruce is made to look like a chump, and Nightwing, they've been challenged. Tom Taylor's been challenging Bruce. Like he's been made out to be just a low life that I'm sick of reading it. And it just continues here, and I'm not a fan. And I hope this isn't the direction we're going to see this book go for the next, what is this next? Shadows of the Bat.
Shadows of the Bat. This is leading into that. We have Arkham Towers is erected. We've got Dr. Crate, or we got Crate in there. I think he is a doctor. We got Dr. Meridian is running the place.
It just, I don't know. I had higher hopes for Tamaki kind of taking the lead because her detective run has been better than Batman, in my opinion. But this did not set me up with much. Yeah. And just even the plot within this issue sucked.
It sucked. And the villain is so unformidable.
Yeah, no.
Why does Batman even need Nightwing? He could kick this guy's ass with his pinky.
Well, I mean, he did. He walks up and just kicks the guy, and it's over with. It's done.
And then Nightwing goes, "Don't you think that was a bit much?" He's like, "This is a serial killer. He's been stealing people's blood and blessing his weapons. I don't think it was enough."
Yeah, no, I think it was. It was very low. I mean, it's not like he came in and broke all the dude's bones. I mean, he probably should have.
He kicked him in the head and knocked him out.
Yeah. I mean, like, are we gonna get to the point where there's a Key and Peele sketch where one of them was a police officer and one guy's robbing, and the officer version is like, "Don't you get in that car? Don't you do it?" And he refuses to like take any action, and then the criminal gets away, and he's like, "Dang it!" Like that's the direction Batman comics are heading. Like you can't do anything, can't touch them, can't stop them. You just hope they'll listen to you.
This is definitely the first time in a while that Mariko Tamaki is flown under the James Tynion bar, as far as I'm concerned, and produced a far less effective comic book. I think there was nothing redeeming about this. The art absolutely sucked. Ricardo Federici at least elevated the art, and it was bad here.
I think that art was by Latham, and it was so lifeless. There was no energy. Just the faces were bad. It was not good work.
Let's talk about a better comic. I didn't love Batman the Detective like I thought I might after the very first issue. I still think it was an interesting series. Probably took too many detours. Did not end up needing to be 6 issues as far as the amount of story we got. But we did get a good finale. We got a big culmination. We got kind of a comic book thread ending when 50 drones could not kill a city. It's certainly not a city the size of London, no matter how many missiles they had. Let's just put that one out of there. But I think Tom Taylor and especially Andy Kubert delivered the goods, and not the greatest comic book ever, but I would certainly recommend it. And it was a satisfying conclusion to the story arc.
Agreed. I'm with you. It wasn't the greatest book ever. It was interesting. I did enjoy it. Unfortunately, compared to what we've been getting, I thought it was really good. But yeah, I mean, it was a decent story. It had good characterization. There were stakes, even kind of throughout, some personal stakes that made it interesting. The 50 drones trying to attack the city, I wish they would have just left that out and just kept the stakes personal. But I liked seeing Ducard. I liked the ties that it had to Ducard, because clearly he's going to train people other than Batman. It makes sense to see threats kind of pop up. And I thought Equilibrium was an interesting character, and I thought the idea of like these people that you saved should have died. It's a very fucked up mindset, but it made for an interesting story. So I enjoyed this pretty well.
You know what I liked the most, shockingly, was the little resolution we got in maybe the last 2 pages. Yep. Squire, who's essentially orphaned because Batman, I think, put her mom in prison. And he arranges to get her released, and she finally gets reunited with her mom. I like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like the way that they snuck that in there on you.
Agreed. It was a nice moment. It wasn't too heavy-handed. There wasn't any type of preaching aspect to it. It just kind of happened. It made sense. And it was a nice moment. It added a resolution that I think was needed. And I like Knight and Squire, even though this is a new Knight and Squire. I mean, you got Barry, but it's a new Knight and Squire. And if we see more of them, I'm not going to mind.
Yeah, so I was perfectly content with this one. It was definitely a step up from the previous 2 comics we looked at. I would recommend it. The art is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely. The story holds up, and it is a conclusion, and it's not one of those really abrupt things. It plays out the way it should.
Yeah, I do want to ask. There's that one scene where they shoot the gun. Equilibrium shoots the gun, and Batman stops it. Did you have any thoughts on that?
This is ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, agreed. I liked the sentiment of it, but. Yeah,
I thought it was cool because Batman has saved Equilibrium at that point. Yeah. And then I think it's Squire says, well, he just saved you. And she's like, you're right. I need to shoot myself because I shouldn't be here. And he grabs it as she's shooting. And Ducard does say, well, your hand must be in 1,000 pieces.
I liked at first I was like, come on. And then that line made it a little bit better because they at least acknowledged it.
I wish he'd just battering the damn gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would have been.
I was like, I had this whole like Black Panther moment from Civil War when he stops the gun, except, Batman's not wearing vibranium. So,
yeah, I think it was meant to be dramatic, but I think it did come off as laughable.
Agreed.
But I thought the moment was cool because the girl turned it on her. She's like, technically, you should be dead. He just saved you.
Yep.
Like, oh, yeah.
100%.
Like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I will give them credit. The way they laid it out, I legitimately thought she shot herself and was successful, which would have been an ending I did not expect at all.
Actually, I think it would have been a more ballsy ending.
Oh, 100%.
To be completely honest, I think it would have been slightly more satisfying, but certainly much darker.
Yeah.
But I like this one. Let's get into the 2 annuals I think we are both looking forward to. We know Nightwing was going to be billed as a Dick Grayson, Jason Todd team up book. That's absolutely what we get. We get some flashbacks of Dick Grayson intervening while he's a member of the Teen Titans in helping Jason Todd, and then the two of them working together, because it appears that Jason Todd is murdering people like on television. The artist is Ian Tormey. I think the art in here is perfectly good. In theory, I love this story. In theory, this is like the highest recommendation, borderline.
Oh, agreed.
Because it's all the things that I would like. But there's a problem with the characterization of the relationship between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. As far as I understand, they were never like that as kids. They were not that close. Jason Todd was resentful of Dick Grayson, and Dick Grayson was somewhat resentful of Jason Todd, and he even kind of talked bad about him after he died.
Yeah.
I hate it when they go back in time and try to reconfigure relationships.
Yeah, I will say there's a moment that I thought of that. I did kind of get the sense, and this may have just been me projecting, but I did feel like they tried to set this up in a way of, this is one of their first times that they're actually getting together and spending time with each other. And they do kind of acknowledge a dislike for one another at the very beginning. And it kind of seems like Dick is like, well, I'm just going to be the bigger guy here and, give you a shot. But yeah, they definitely had more of a chummy relationship than I'm used to. This is more so what I'm used to seeing with Dick and Tim, or even Dick and Damien to a degree, but mainly Dick and Tim. They had more of that brother type relationship.
So it almost becomes fanfic, in my opinion. It's straddling the line there. Yeah,
I mean, there is this also like mentorship type thing that comes out from Dick, and I enjoyed this aspect of in the flashback portions of him coming forward to be like aware of Bruce and aware of how Bruce can push people and may not always set the best example, and Dick understanding that and deciding, okay, this is where I need to step in, and I liked that. And I liked the effort, but I think it wraps up too neatly. My biggest issue here isn't so much the way their relationship was portrayed. It's this push to constantly change things from the past to make characters important in the future. And they tried to do that here with a character that at first I thought there's an issue with Jason when he's Robin, where he pushes a guy off of a roof. And I thought a villain that's referenced here that they go after in this issue was that person. And when I looked it up, it wasn't. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't know.
You talking about old Wolfgang?
Yeah, that guy.
So that name comes up. It's Wolfgang Mitzelplick, Wolfgang Bade. I don't know what the name is.
Yeah.
It's such a weird name. It stood out. I was like, is this a villain? I don't like, what am I reading here? I go and Google the fucking name. You know who that is?
Who?
Tom Taylor's like buddy from Australia that's in the comics industry. I wanted to roll my eyes through the back of my head.
Yeah, I thought I'd missed something, and apparently I didn't. I don't know. Tom Taylor's really bad about using people's names, and I get it. I get respecting the people you work with. He mentioned Bruno Redondo's name in this book too as a street or something, and I'm like,
there's another one in there too. Another artist that he mentioned.
Yeah, I fully understand. Like people that have done their time. I get it. Like if you want to honor like Jack Kirby, sure. I can respect, but I love Bruno Redondo's art. This is not a dig. Like I think Bruno Redondo is great. Just when they put stuff in here, it just kind of makes me roll my eyes. So this definitely makes me roll my eyes.
It's
I don't know.
A unique name that it stood out. You're like,
I mean, it does sound like a villain's name. So maybe he was just like, there might be a running joke with those two that he's like, your name is a villain's name. Like, what have you done in your life? But I did like the story itself though. I kind of liked seeing, I do like seeing Jason try to reform. I do like him as a badass, but I do want them to pick a lane and go. And they are picking a lane. Although there's this whole back news type thing, whisper thing going on about how the reason DC is trying to get Jason away from guns is because they don't want toys with guns. So that seems like that's leading the decision to get him to use a crowbar. And they have some fun back and forth dialogue about that.
I don't know. It feels like if you bash somebody in the head with a crowbar, that's still pretty fucked up.
Oh, no, it's 100% fucked up. This is more of like people's opinions on guns. And that's a political conversation, probably not for this channel, but I don't know.
I don't want people using crowbars on other people either.
I don't either.
The other issue I have with the story,
what?
It's become so cliche in Batman. I'm tired of Clayface impersonating people to do crime.
Hey, they used what was it, Preston Payne for this one though? Same thing. They've done it too much. It's been used way too many times. We also just had a story where there's video footage of someone doing something that wasn't real, so that felt repetitive as well. A lot of stuff's getting really tired right now.
But I do recommend this. This is verging on a highly recommend. I just think the characterization of the relationship is just a little bit off, but it's certainly enjoyable. If you like
Absolutely.
Nightwing, if you like Red Hood, you get to see the two characters together, and it is fun. And that's what you need today.
And this touches on things that, themes that these writers are clearly wanting to present. It touches on them and does them well, as opposed to being so heavy-handed.
This is way better than
there's some nice moments here. So, like we're nitpicking on some things that bothered us, but there's plenty to like here.
Speaking of plenty to like, let's talk about this Robin Annual from Joshua Williamson and Roger Cruz. This is the one I thought was the best. It's a highly recommend.
100%.
I was surprised. You know what I wish it was, though? I wish it was all Flatline.
Yes. I love Flatline, and I love her more now.
One-page interludes with some of the participants in the tournament with some of their background story and how they got there or whatever. But the Flatline stuff just steals the show. What an interesting origin story. Didn't expect her to come from Russia. She doesn't have any of those idiosyncrasies or the syntax of someone that's a native Russian speaker speaking English or whatever, but certainly explains the powers, explains how Damian knew about it when he was in the tournament for the second fight. And I like the character more. I think this is a character that you can build on.
Oh, 100%. Like, everyone's talking about James Tynion's characters and who he's created, but I think Punchline for me is the new character that's the real win. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well,
why?
Slip.
Oh, man. Flatline. Punchline is definitely not it. No, I think Flatline is the character to watch. You got a good foundation here. There's an interesting power set. She's an interesting character in general, just the way she views things. She's young, so they're writing her as if she's still learning and adapting and kind of figuring out who she is. I've loved everything that I've read of her so far, and I completely agree. Like, this issue is supposed to take place, I think, after issue 6, but before 7 and 8.
Before he returns to the island and the resumption
to fight.
Of the tournament.
Yeah. So for me, the idea that, they're going to have the one page for each of the other contestants, it felt a little unnecessary. Yeah. If it had come earlier, I would have loved it. But because this book landed when it did, it just felt unnecessary. And like you, I wish we would have just gotten more Punchline. Unlike the Batman Annual. Yeah. Oh, fucking A, man. Jeez. What is going on?
There's a line in both of their names. I get it.
Jesus. Yeah, you and Mighty Molly, and I'm now Flatline Punchline. I would have loved just a full issue of her. I would have loved getting to see more of her. I loved the idea too of establishing why she sought out Deadman. And because when they first revealed that she was like an apprentice of his, I was like, really? I don't know about that. But reading this now, I'm like, makes perfect sense. That
direction is actually pretty funny. I don't actually laugh out loud often during comics, but this one got a chuckle out of me.
Oh, definitely. It was
like, and why would I want a sidekick?
Yeah. Yes. They wrote Deadman really well. So, Lord Deathman. Yeah. I'm fucking up names today, man. Y'all, I apologize.
It's all good. People don't know this, but you slept in through your alarm clock.
I did. I'm still getting so tired.
Bearings together. But
that coffee
there are
hasn't hit yet.
Few other stories in here that expand upon some characters. You and I have been talking about. We're hoping after the tournament, that we get Damian, Flatline, was it Ravager?
Yep.
And then Connor Hawk, and then it looks like we'll get Respawn as well. Yep. And those are the characters that they expand upon. We got more story of Connor Hawk. I did not like that one as much as I liked the Ravager story. I thought that one was pretty cool. We didn't get anything on Respawn. They're definitely keeping the lid on whatever that secret is. Even Batman has no information, because that's how we're getting the information on the characters. Is Damian has broken into Batman's files and is reading up on them so he can be scouted for when the tournament resumes. This thing should have been released a while ago, to be completely honest. But we did get some clarity on those characters, and certainly the fact that they're getting highlighted means that those characters are going to be important moving forward and likely to be like a weird little team up.
Yeah, I'm all for
it. Killers.
Yeah, I am. Look, I'm all for it. they are definitely setting up stuff with Respawn, so I'm excited to see where that goes. Even Ravager Rose, her story kind of ties into Respawn, and hinting like, hey, this is where we're taking the story next. The only two, the only two that I was like, are we really going to feature these? Was the Black Swan, which I guess like cool, whatever. And who's the little like shrimpy kid with the big hands and the big feet? Yeah, I'm like, I
didn't like the Aquaman character. What did we do? Don't tell Aquaman about this.
Oh, yeah,
like
man.
whatever. Whatever. I don't remember the name.
Look, those main four
characters.
The main four, I'm all for. Like, yeah, let's run with them and Respawn. Like, I'm down.
But I highly recommend this one. I thought it was really fun. The art's good. It's I think we should have gotten this information sooner, but really like learning some information about Flatline, especially. I think that's going to be a breakout character.
100% agreed.
All right, so I think we covered it. Obviously it was an enormous Batman week, a $50 Batman week. We covered what we could here, Josh. Do you have any final words about Batman? Batman?
I will just apologize to Joshua Williamson for calling Flatline Punchline. Your character does not deserve that. Other than that, like there were some solid moments and then there's some duds. So, you're going
to get 8 comic books. You're going to have some highs. You're going to have some lows. They can't all be winners when you put this many comics out.
Yeah, I would say pick up 3 if you're picking up anything. Go ahead and pick up Batman Detective, Nightwing, and then for sure Robin, because Robin just continues to be a ton of fun.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So thank you very much to Josh. Congratulations on getting your last review out for BatmanNews.com. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be sticking around, covering some more opinion pieces, some commentary and stuff like that. But best of luck with Popeye culture in the future. And obviously, you'll be featured here on the channel so we can talk.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited, man. Thank you.